not everything you receive wrapped in kindness is actually good for you. Some things come with strings you can't see at first, hidden beneath the surface, waiting to pull tight when you least expect it. And if you don't learn how to spot that early, you could walk right into a situation that slowly starts to take away your freedom, your ability to speak up, and your sense of control. What's tricky. It never starts out looking like a problem. It begins small. She gives you something, offers a hand, supports you in a way that feels genuinely generous. You accept it without overthinking. Why wouldn't you? It looks like care. It feels like love, but little by little something shifts. Expectations begin to creep in. Pressure starts building. You start feeling like you owe something in return, even when no agreement was ever made. And that's exactly where the trap snaps shut. Because now it's no longer just a gift. Now it's leverage. A lot of men don't realize this until they're already deep in it. They accept everything early on without stopping to question the intention behind it. They assume every nice gesture is pure. And because of that, they slowly hand over pieces of their own control without even noticing it. Let me be clear, this isn't about rejecting kindness. This is about understanding intention. Because there's a world of difference between a gift that comes from the heart and one that's strategically placed. One expects nothing back. The other carries a hidden purpose. And if you don't know how to tell them apart, you can be guided into manipulation without ever seeing it happen. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 types of gifts you need to be careful about accepting from any woman. Not because all women are the same, far from it, but because certain patterns repeat themselves, and if you don't recognize them, you can fall right into them. These aren't obvious traps. They're subtle. They look normal. But they can quietly change your entire position if you're not paying attention. So stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll never look at gifts the same way again. The first type of gift you need to watch out for is one that comes with hidden conditions. It doesn't look like a condition at the start. She gives you something, helps you out, supports you in a moment when you really need it, and everything feels fine. No pressure, no demands, no spoken agreement. It just feels like she's being kind. But that condition doesn't show up immediately, it waits. It waits until she wants something from you. That's when you start hearing things like, "Remember what I did for you," or "I was there for you when you were struggling," or "After everything I've given, you can't do this one little thing for me?" Right then, it stops being a gift. It becomes a transaction, one you never signed up for. This is how manipulation often works. It starts with something positive, something that lowers your guard. You accept it because it feels harmless. But once you've accepted it, a sense of obligation takes root, even if nothing was ever clearly stated. And that obligation becomes a form of control. Now you feel pressured to respond, to give back, to bend your decisions based on what she's already done. Even when what she's asking goes against what you believe, you hesitate because you feel like you owe her. That's the trap. And here's the kicker, this pattern repeats. The more you accept, the more it grows. Each gift adds another layer of expectation. Each favor becomes another reason she can use later. Before you know it, your choices aren't really yours anymore. They're based on what you feel obligated to do. That's how you slowly lose control. Here's what you need to hold on to. A real gift does not come back to haunt you as a reminder. A real gift does not return as pressure. A real gift does not create debt. So don't just look at what's given, pay attention to what follows after. Because the moment a gift is used as a reason to control you, it was never a gift to begin with. The second type of gift you need to be careful with is an expensive gift that shows up way too early. Timing is everything. When you're just getting to know someone and suddenly big gestures appear, costly items, serious financial help, you need to pause and think. At that stage, nothing should be that deep yet, but it feels good. It looks like generosity. It might even make you feel like you've finally found someone who truly values you, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. Instead of building a connection step by step, everything jumps ahead too fast. The balance is gone before it ever had a chance to form. One person is giving more than the situation calls for, and that creates pressure. Now you're asking yourself, how do I match this? Or, what's expected of me now? Even if she never says a word, the weight is there. And once that weight is there, your decisions are no longer free. They're influenced. This is how emotional positioning works. By offering something valuable early, she shifts the dynamic. You're no longer on equal ground. You're now in a position where you feel like you've received something significant, and that feeling can change how you act. You might tolerate things you normally wouldn't. You might stay in situations longer than you should. You might even ignore red flags because you don't want to seem ungrateful. That's how control begins to sneak in. Also, early expensive gifts can create a false sense of connection. It makes things feel deeper than they actually are. You start believing the bond is stronger just because the gesture was big. But real connection isn't built on sudden intensity. It's built on steady consistency over time. When something skips that process, it often leads to imbalance. So here's a simple rule. If something feels like too much, too soon, take a step back. You don't have to reject kindness, but you do need to respect timing. Because when value is introduced before a real bond is formed, it changes the foundation. And once the foundation is off, everything built on top of it becomes unstable. The third type of gift you must watch for is one that gets used to silence you. At first, it doesn't look like that at all. She gives you something, supports you, does something that feels meaningful. Everything seems fine. No tension, no argument, no pressure. But then the moment you try to speak up, something changes. You express a concern, you point out something that doesn't feel right, or you try to set a healthy boundary. Instead of actually addressing what you said, she brings up what she's done for you. After everything I've given you, after all I've done, you're still saying this? Right there, the gift becomes a tool, because now your voice isn't free anymore. Instead of working through the issue, you're shoved into a position where you feel guilty for even opening your mouth. The focus shifts from the real problem to everything she's given you, and that's how silence gets created. You start holding back. You think twice before saying anything. You avoid conversations that actually matter because you already know how they'll end. That's control. And here's another layer. It starts to eat away at your confidence. When your voice keeps getting shut down like that, you begin to question yourself. You start wondering if you're wrong for speaking up, even when you're not. That slowly weakens your stance because now you're no longer expressing yourself clearly. You're just adjusting to avoid conflict. And once you reach that point, you're not in control anymore. The relationship becomes one-sided. So let me be direct. No gift should ever take away your ability to speak. No gift should ever be used to shut you down. No gift should ever make you feel like your opinion doesn't matter. Because the moment that happens, it's no longer a gift. It's leverage. Pay attention to the pattern. If every time you speak, you're reminded of what you received, that's not appreciation, that's control. And once control replaces honest communication, the connection is no longer healthy. The fourth type of gift you need to be wary of is one that creates dependence. This one is sneakier, more dangerous, because it doesn't feel like a problem at the start. She helps you. She supports you. She steps in and solves things you never even asked her to solve. It might be financial help, connections, opportunities, or taking over responsibilities that you normally handle yourself. At first, it feels like support. It feels like you've found someone who genuinely cares, but over time, something shifts. You start relying on it. You get comfortable. You stop pushing yourself the way you used to. And slowly, almost without noticing, your independence starts to fade. That's where the real trouble begins. Because once you depend on something, you become vulnerable to losing it. And when she knows you depend on it, the dynamic changes. Now she has influence, not because she said it outright, but because the situation allows it. During disagreements, it shows up in subtle ways. If it wasn't for me, remember who helped you. Even if it's not said directly, the awareness is there. You feel it. And because you feel it, you start adjusting your behavior. You hesitate to walk away. You hesitate to stand firm. You hesitate to make decisions that might disrupt what you've come to rely on. That's how control grows. Another problem is that dependence rewires your mindset. You stop thinking like someone who's building his own life and start thinking like someone who's just maintaining what's been given to him. That shift dulls your drive, lowers your focus, and over time, it lowers your own sense of value. So understand this clearly: support is good. Dependence is dangerous. A healthy relationship supports your growth. It doesn't replace your effort. It doesn't take over your responsibilities. And it certainly doesn't make you feel like you can't function without it. Here's the simple rule: never accept anything that makes you dependent. Because the moment you rely on it, you give away your control. And once control is gone, everything else starts to follow. The fifth type of gift you must be careful with is one that quietly weakens you. This one is very subtle. It doesn't come with pressure, no reminders, no obvious control. In fact, it feels comfortable. It feels easy. It feels like everything is working in your favor, and that's exactly why most men never see it coming. She makes things easier for you. She handles situations before you even think about them. She removes obstacles from your path. She steps in so you don't have to struggle, don't have to push, don't have to figure things out on your own. At first, it feels like support. But over time, something changes. You stop doing certain things for yourself. You stop thinking as sharply as you used to. You stop pushing as hard as you used to because now you don't have to. That's where the danger lives. Not because she's doing something wrong, but because you're becoming comfortable in a way that quietly reduces your own strength. You start losing discipline. You start losing your edge. And once that edge is gone, it affects everything else. Your mindset shifts. Your focus drops. Your drive weakens. And slowly, you become a different version of yourself, one that depends on ease instead of effort. Here's the truth: growth comes from pressure. It comes from solving your own problems, from handling your own responsibilities. When those things are removed, even with good intentions, you lose the very process that builds you up. And here's another hard part: this kind of comfort is hard to walk away from because it feels good. It feels safe. It feels convenient. But what feels good in the moment can weaken you over time. So remember this rule: do not accept anything that replaces your effort. Do not accept anything that removes your discipline. Because once you lose that, you don't just lose control, you lose yourself. And no gift is worth that. By now, you should be seeing the pattern clearly. The problem isn't really the gift itself. The problem is what comes along with it and what it slowly turns into over time. Something that looks completely positive at the beginning can quietly shift into something that limits you if you're not paying close attention. That's where most men get it wrong. They focus only on what they're receiving in the moment. They don't think about what it creates later. They don't look at the long-term effect. And because of that, they walk into situations that slowly change their position without ever realizing it. You need to start thinking differently. Instead of asking, "What am I getting from this?" start asking, "What does this lead to?" That one question changes everything. If a gift creates pressure, it's not harmless. If a gift creates expectation, it's not neutral. If a gift changes your behavior, your decisions, or your independence, then it's not just a gift, it's influence. And let's be fair, not every situation is negative. Not every woman is trying to control you, but patterns matter more than isolated moments. If something keeps repeating, if it shows up again and again in different forms, take it seriously, because patterns reveal direction. And direction tells you exactly where things are headed. Also, pay attention to how you feel after accepting something. If you feel free, respected, and unchanged, it's likely genuine. But if you feel pressure, obligation, or hesitation, something is off. That feeling isn't random. It's a signal. Ignoring it is what creates problems down the road. So the goal here isn't to reject everything. The goal is to understand what you're accepting. Because once you become aware of these patterns, you stop walking into situations blindly. You start making decisions with clarity, and that's what keeps you in control. Now that you know what to avoid, the next step is knowing how to move forward the right way. This isn't about shutting everyone out or becoming cold and defensive. It's about staying aware and making intentional decisions. First, observe before you accept. Not everything needs an immediate response. When something is offered, pause. Look at the situation, the timing, the pattern behind it. Ask yourself what it creates, not just what it gives you. That single pause puts you back in the driver's seat. Second, protect your independence at all costs. No matter what you receive, your life should still move forward based on your own effort. Your goals, your responsibilities, your direction, they need to stay yours. Nothing should replace that, because the moment something replaces your effort, you start losing your position. Third, keep your standards clear. If something comes with pressure, expectation, or hidden strings, recognize it immediately. You don't need long debates. You don't need to over-explain yourself. You just need to know what you accept and what you don't. Clarity removes confusion. Fourth, stay consistent in your behavior. Don't change how you act just because you received something. Don't bend your decisions out of obligation instead of choice. If you start making choices based on guilt or pressure, you lose direction. Consistency protects your position. And finally, value your own effort above everything. Anything you build with your own hands carries more strength than anything handed to you. When you rely on your own work, your own decisions, your own discipline, you become very hard to control. That's what gives you real stability. So keep it simple, stay aware, stay independent, stay consistent. When you move like that, no situation can slowly take control over you. You remain in charge of your own choices. And that's what separates a man who gets trapped from a man who stays free. This is the part most men miss completely. These situations don't destroy you overnight. They don't show up as a clear problem from day one. That's exactly why they're so dangerous. Everything starts small. A simple favor, a helpful gesture, something that feels normal and harmless. You accept it without thinking too much. There's no pressure in that moment. No sign that anything is wrong. In fact, it might even feel like things are going your way. But over time, the pattern builds. What was once a small action becomes a repeated behavior. What felt optional starts to feel expected. What looked like support begins to quietly shape your decisions. That's how it grows, not suddenly, but gradually. And because it happens slowly, you don't notice the shift. You adjust a little here, compromise a little there. You allow things because they don't seem serious in the moment. Until one day, you realize your position has changed. You're no longer making decisions freely. You're thinking about what you might lose. You're considering what's been given to you. You're adjusting your behavior to maintain something instead of choosing what's actually right for you. That's when you're already inside the situation. And at that point, it becomes much harder to step out because now there's something attached, something to lose, something influencing your choices. This is why awareness has to come early. You cannot wait until things become obvious. By then, the pattern is already set. You've already adapted to it, and breaking free requires way more effort than simply avoiding it in the first place. So here's the rule: pay attention from the beginning. Look at patterns, not just moments. Notice how things evolve over time. Because what looks harmless at the start can turn into something that quietly controls your decisions later. And once that control is in place, it's not easy to remove. At the end of everything, it comes down to one simple truth. Not everything that looks like a blessing is actually good for you. That's the mistake so many men make. They see something positive on the surface and accept it immediately without ever thinking about where it leads. They focus on the moment, not the long-term effect. And that's how they lose control, because control isn't taken in one big move. It's given away in small decisions. One acceptance leads to another. One compromise leads to another. And before you realize it, your choices aren't fully yours anymore. That's the real danger. It's not about one gift. It's about what that gift creates over time. If something introduces pressure, it will grow. If something creates dependence, it will deepen. If something weakens your discipline, it will affect every area of your life. So you have to think ahead, you have to look beyond the surface, and you have to be honest with yourself about what you're accepting. This isn't about rejecting kindness or avoiding connection. It's about protecting your position, because once you lose your position, it's very difficult to rebuild it. Respect drops. Control shifts. Everything becomes harder to manage. That's why awareness matters from the very beginning. You don't wait until things go wrong to start paying attention. You stay aware from the start so you never walk into situations that slowly limit you. Here's the final rule. If something comes with pressure, question it. If something creates obligation, step back. If something changes your independence, be very careful. Because once your independence is affected, everything else follows. So move with clarity. Accept what is genuine. Reject what comes with hidden weight. And always stay in control of your own direction. Because at the end of the day, what you allow into your life is what eventually controls your life. If this message spoke to you, drop an amen in the comments and share this with a brother who needs to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more real talk on staying strong, aware, and free. God bless you. Keep your eyes open and keep your heart protected.